I was just gonna talk about Federal Bureau investigation. I was gonna post a really angry message on my blog, and then I gave it a second thought about all this stuff and trying to understand the consequences this will have on this whole situation. It's much more in the picture than myself. I was gonna angrily explode that, well, yeah, there was white people, white executives at the FBI who threatened with ignoring my case if I would turn against the black people. If I would start talking anything about the black and this and that. That's a Federal Bureau investigation. Every head of Federal Bureau investigation was involved with this. They presented it to the blacks. During MK Ultra, I had to agree to a torture. Let's just take, let's say, Tiger Woods, for example. So that he could profit from within. It was, let's say, Stevie Wonder, and it was a whole bunch of you. Every fucking one of you in Hollywood. Nobody was more violent than blacks. And the Jews, their owners. It was about the money, self-promotion. And I had to agree to that. As a Federal Bureau investigation and Central Intelligence Agency demanded from me to agree to a torture done on me by the niggers, by the Jews, whomever they got, so that they would spy for me. So they would be coming in this house, and in return, with the Slovenes, they would coordinate the incidents, all in agreement too, and were convincing me afterwards. You know, I was taken to the US, whatever, once they got in parentheses proofs, and again tortured, or rejected to have anything to do with them, in every attempt to have nothing to do with these niggers, Jews, was broken by the FBI, by the American police. Joe Biden, White House, Congress people insisted on me that we work as one, we are one. Meaning, not only meaning, but also gesturing me how I have a contract with them, and this doesn't pertain only to Americans, it's also British. This scam is a British way to murder people without resistance, without people giving any kind of resistance. Talk about it. They hush you like this. Torture you, rip you apart, and keep you silent. Till you're dead. The main action of MK Ultra in my case was to get me killed. That was the main action. Either to hospitalize me or simply get me killed. And I did explain you everything about the killing process. I disregarded this. This doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Absolutely makes no sense. This is why this video. This video simply because of things like this. I wouldn't even talk about Obama because I feel it's stupid to talk about. I wouldn't even go into any issues pertaining to Obama, but this is pretty good. I'm not going to say explanation, but the way I expose this stuff is just totally outstanding. They address you as mentally ill, and eventually either they manage to hospitalize you, jail you if you get yourself in a crime. I forgot, they can also get you in a jail if you get yourself in a crime. Or the damages they cause you through this cardiovascular burnout procedure, trauma, sleep deprivation procedure. They're actually so severe that you don't have chance, that you can't go. On a long run, you don't have anywhere you can go to. And so I already made a mistake. I posted something here about Obama, and it's stupid because this goes way past politics. Barack Obama is a nobody, just like Donald Trump is a nobody. The one that really decides about this world, and you people don't know about this, are really a small people. Because this world is based on small people. It's based on how much small people can take, and it's based on how much truth comes out of the mouths of the small people. Not out of the big people, but small people. Big people up there to sit on the caskets of the small people. I think I was the smallest person ever. There is much more about this. It's a horrific abuse. If you consider, I was told, repeated, before I even became American citizen. Repeated over and over and over again before I even arrived to the United States of America. I finally arrived to the United States of America in 1995. But Americans were involved in this with British, with Germans, since practically I was born. In 1971 I was born in December, since 1972. Repeated to me. Listen to this very good. They repeated to me, they said, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of this. They're involved in torture. All kinds of people of other races, racial backgrounds, Asians, blacks, Jews, you name it. Everything that you see around the world, American natives, absolutely everything. And for my not wanting to have anything to do with them, it was beatings, it was torture, it was complaints. Before my American citizenship, which I got in 2000, I became a naturalized American citizen. There was this thing, they refer to this as a case. Part of this. I don't want to be part of this. He doesn't like me. He doesn't like us. We're black. Damn fucking right I don't. He never said why or whatever. And why would anybody have to explain to you why is it that he doesn't like you? Maybe he doesn't like your color of skin. Maybe he doesn't like the way you look. Maybe he doesn't like, I have no fucking idea what. He might just not like you. What exactly is your right to question that person? Why is it that he doesn't like you? I was drugged up. But even if I wouldn't be drugged up, what difference would it make? You're not from this place here. None of you was. This is not a multi-ethnic country. It never was. In Yugoslavia it was. We had Serbs here also. Croats, Bosnians, we still have it. But there was no Asians, there was no blacks, there was no Jews, there was no American natives, there was no whatever you can find, anywhere you can find. And even if they would be, so what? What the fuck is your problem? If I don't like you for the way you look, what exactly is your problem? It is a problem. Because it's not about the problem, the way you express yourself. He does not like us. Already inquiring about saying he does not like us, you present some kind of problem. You present some kind of complaint. He does not like us. That means that many of you already conspire against single individual, obviously based on his race, ethnicity. He is only one. And like I said, I don't want to claim that I was drugged up. I was, but that's not what I want to say. I want to bring this to the broader level for people to understand. He doesn't want you to be part of this. I didn't want you to be part of this. I want to get rid of you, whichever way it's possible. And it was not suitable for you. It was not convenient for you. Because coming here or hosting me, you couldn't engage in a torture otherwise. And that means that you are not entitled to money, to assistance, to trainers, mentors, etc. Your success literally depended on this thing, which I did not agree to. So already, when you make a statement, he does not want us, I don't want to be part of this. You position yourself in a role of hater and racist and bigot and everything that is out there that equal employment opportunity protects, claims. There are laws, anti-racial laws, anti-Semitic laws, and all kinds of stuff that is out there to, to promote equality, anti-racial discrimination, against ethnicity, against the sex, against sexual orientation, against whatever, religion, etc., etc. And is this thing, they call it a thing. Later on, they said they didn't want to be American citizen. Yeah, you had a bunch of Jews, blacks claiming that Native Indians Latinos, Asians. I don't know if there was any Asians. I don't think there was any Asians ever. But claiming that we can be Americans if this guy is American. Wow. So now we upgraded extermination procedure from the thing to, we elevated it to, how do you refer to this stuff? All American singers, all American actors, all American sportsmen that you see out there, the same shit. And then it was this great solidarity. The whites started to pledge also the solidarity. I can't if you don't accept him, and so on and so forth. Why do you have so many problems with what you call acceptance, which was mother and father of all genocide procedures? In the world, in part of the world, it's known as democracies. Western part of the world. I don't even want to talk about Russia, Serbia, Slovenia, and this and that. I don't want to talk about, because you wouldn't have done this if I had a place to go. The only time you do this shit when people have no place to go. So it makes absolutely no sense to talk about Russia and all that stuff, Eastern Europe and so on. It makes no sense to talk about this. It makes no sense to talk about racist China or racist Vietnam, racist Asia, let's say. It makes no sense to talk about any of that stuff. You do this to people who have no place to go, where to go. That's when you come out. That's when you come out and you are completely yourself, basically out, naked, on a plain daylight. And the world did record it. European countries took a tremendous note about this stuff, how you do this stuff. There was no action. There was only compliance from European side. So we upgraded from this thing, and that's what my American citizenship was worth. Oh, you're an American citizen. You're American, so you're American citizen. Yeah, actually you cannot be a police officer in the USA unless you're an American citizen. Now I also see that they made police officers also non-American citizens. We have Kazakh lady from Kazakhstan that came here to be a Slovenian ambassador, and we had some crazy stuff going on already in Slovenia that went on. So they were always sending exotic people here to save me. And that's basically placing your knife like this under the throat and continue to slit your throat till they slit throat completely, repeating you, not only repeating you, but basically completely surrendering the whole thing into the hands of those. That's how the whites do it. For whom they know the only thing they want to do is basically slit your throat. And for whom they also know that they did so much evil to you that under given circumstances, the heart failure is a very serious situation. You never ever would accept anything, and I'm going to say below the human dignity, because this is one of the most disgusting things that you can do to a human being. I don't think there is more disgusting thing. MK Ultra is, definition of MK Ultra on word is razčlovečenje. Razčlovečenje. Let me demonstrate you. A beast here from Novo Mesto police station Stefanic, Andrei. He was laughing on my face. He said it's a telepathy. It's a telepathy, MK Ultra. It's a word. As you see, this is a game playing here with the this is not the definition as it says right there. I'm gonna take this definition so that I can get this translated to you. We're gonna do this through Google. I'll probably have to translate this to the Russian and then from the Russian to the English. If I'm gonna get internet connection strong enough eventually that if they will allow me to do this, then we're gonna do it. It's a dehumanization, deprivation, removal of human values, dignity, dehumanization. It is this thing here. You are actually destined to be ripped apart. They eat your heart. It's a human cannibalism. I mean, if I was to describe this in the best way, it's cannibalism during which those involved feed themselves with a human heart. And I mean literally in a sense of is what I explained to you here. Literally. Cannibalism, it's a form of cannibalism. They rip you apart, they rip your heart apart, basically. They destroy you. Burn one. Exhaustion, through exhaustion of the heart is about as close as bestiality performed on a human being, known as torture procedure, comes to. When you torture individuals so much that his heart gives up on him. Can you torture individual more? This is just a question. If you wanna torture somebody and you want to cause him as much as damage as possible, can you torture one more than make his heart give up on him? No, I don't think you can do it more. There's a lot of torture procedures, all kinds of procedures that are torture procedures, and this is bestiality. And when I started all this, and I refer to myself as a human animal talking to you, human experiment animal talking to you. This goes all the way to 2011, and you deliberately didn't want to see me. You deliberately didn't want to know about that I am using the worst language in the world, known as MK Ultra. You at the United Nations. You at International Criminal Court who are coming here and who instructed me on how to send you complaints, etc., etc., so that you could indulge yourself in more crime against me. I wouldn't even want to talk about European Commission here, Court for Human Rights in Strasbourg, and Amnesty International, or maybe some completely insane U.S. Justice Department of State, some kind of the so-called civil rights division. You're fucking sick. Severely sick. Is there anybody sicker and more dangerous for this world than you are? Like I said, I was gonna pose this to FBI, but I realized that this issue is just so much bigger, that this issue is just so much more important. This is just state-of-the-art stuff that I created to expose you. They were not interested in helping me out. You are not interested in helping me out. The Slovenians, what they wanted to do is they wanted to make money. Not make money. They were making surgeries, even free surgeries for the Eastern European apparatchiks that will be coming to Ljubljana. After hours of work, they would continue to do the stuff nobody ever paid for. Foreign diplomats, foreign presidents from Eastern Europe. They were not interested in saving me. I nicely have explained. I nicely pointed you out what exactly was the plan to do with me. That means to rip apart human being is MK Ultra. It's not dehumanization. Rip apart, basically eat your fucking heart out, basically. Cannibalism is what it is. When it comes to as close as to the human nature, it's a cannibalism. It's a human cannibalism is what it is. That's MK Ultra. And so, you know, I am thinking about this. This one here is also to read. This is a very important one. How they pursue these things is, how they saw it, how they want it. I don't know why the picture here is so blurry. When I consider these issues, FBI, and you know, they would bring me to FBI on a million occasions and saying to the Central Intelligence Agency, headquarters, everywhere. And they would present me to the black. I will not refer to this as officials or government workers because I'm not interested. Whatever that is. They're co-workers. I can refer to this as their co-workers. Because I have absolutely no respect for the FBI people. And I have no respect for the Central Intelligence Agency people. It was always accent with the British Royals. Or maybe through the British Royals. I don't know who was more enforcing about this. Always was accent on stuff I told you. How they demanded this genocide. Sickening. You know, mental sickening procedure is what it is. You're gonna get fucking saved by somebody who does more damage to you than anybody else does. And does the damage based on the laws the country is providing to every citizen in the United States of America. That's equal opportunity laws. And the same goes when it comes to Constitution in Britain and everywhere else. Laws that provide for every individual. So, who the fuck are you then as such? Boy, I have to ask myself, what exactly was I to you when I was doing MK Ultra? Well, the closest explanation to this that would come to would be that I did not exist. The closest explanation I could come to would be for me to say that I didn't exist. However, that would be a lie. That would be a wrong definition. That would be a totally wrong definition. I did, of course, obviously, too much existed. If you couldn't move the finger without me, I more than fucking existed. So, what the hell was this shit then? if law provides for people not to be treated this way, and people are treated this way, for every promise you make, retaliation promise you make, you're called mentally ill and subjected to more torture. And you become a citizen in a country even where, well, so much I was harassed with this so-called equal. Well, you know, I think every American is, because if you look at the media, and I haven't seen anything very long time already. It seems like nobody's interested anymore in posting about racial discrimination and etc., etc., etc. Like the mouse eat, like the mouse eat your tongues or something like that. I have no idea what happened to you in America, because you used to feed us all the fucking time about the racism, about the racial incidents, who said what said, with your cancel culture that, you justified, a pain, a sorrow, a suffering that whatever white person would cause to a black person. When it comes to the Jews, that wouldn't even play out, because the Jews could take care of themselves, right? You filed the lawsuits and took the money from the whites, and then what you would do is you would give this as a form of donation to the black community, to the multiracial. So you promoted one another through ideal environment, gentlemanic environment. Like you are creating idea about yourself, like grandeur idea about like that you actually have a society that is civilized, that is based on some kind of human values and so on. So my question is, who the fuck was I? Look, if you go in America, try to call a black person a nigger, and you're going to see what's going to happen. You don't have to go to suburb or part of the black town to get killed. You can try this anywhere, and you're going to see what happens. And it's not only that. They take you to the office next door. It's called equal employment opportunity. They'll seize your house. They'll seize your car. You're going to end up losing wife, children. You'll be staying jobless for the rest of your life. Who knows what they can do to you and what they do to people. You can see people in a tents, all kinds of stuff. You can see little America. New, brave America is coming out of the shadows of its past. The Obama's America. The freedom. So, who the fuck was I? Who was I? Well, the question is much more complex. It wasn't about me. It is, and it was about the black people, about the black society in the United States of America as whole. Because they failed to stop these extremists, which they pride themselves with so much. Whether that be for this excellent music or art, or maybe millions, maybe billions they have in the banking accounts, because they want to see themselves in something, like have hope in their lives. What human creature doesn't want anybody, even mouses and rats do that. If you offer them some entertainment, something, some reasoning, company, they want, I don't know, they did this experiment with marijuana or whatever, drugs. They won't drink that stuff. But if they are by themselves and so on, and face depression, they will deliberately go on a poison and poison themselves. That stuff was actually proven. That's normal. That's a normal thing. But, when you say United States of America, and when you make such a huge pledge actually to a baby that is not even a citizen, that doesn't even live there, and you demand from one to see his salvation, literally in a beating, in a torture performed against one by a black people, or Hispanics, or Jews, or whatever you are using, or Asians in Asia, etc. Don't you think that you are asking a little bit too much for it? And I think they say eloquent, well-spoken tonight. I put it in a way that none of you actually anticipated could be reasoned. Your insanity could be reasoned. I am doing it excellent. Don't you think that you are asking for a bit too much from... Who am I then? Am I a human being, or am I animal, or am I... You refer to me during MK8 as an alien. Would you treat aliens like this? Yeah, probably you would if they had no place to go, if they depended on your hospitality. You probably would. You probably would. I'm sure you would. But I still don't know what exactly you meant by this. You said, if he is an American, I don't want to be American. It was already whites that developed this type of attitude. Like, for instance, my ex-roommate, Rachel Steiger over there from the Washington State, from Bellingham. You were able to hear her recording. I recorded her. You shouldn't be here in America. We don't want you here. That kind of stuff. Sickening stuff that repeated over and over and over and over and over during MK Ultra. And eventually from, I don't want to be part of this thing, literally drew into rejection of seeing himself or herself as an American. So this is like pure fucking evil, motherfuckers say. You're talking about fucking evil like as if you would go to some kind of a psychiatric ward and you would see like completely fucked up, or jail, let's say. And you would see a completely fucked up individual that would start to imitate pig, let's say. And would just go, and that kind of stuff. Which you do, because people are so, whatever you do with them, under those circumstances, become, I don't know, they lose their human character, and I guess that they just become too much animals instead. I'm not judging anybody here when I say this. I don't want to be judgmental toward people, whatever the people go through. I don't want to do that part. But the question is, who the fuck was I? What the fuck was I? That's a question. This is what I'm asking myself, and this is what when it comes to my mind, these FBI directors, executives, threaten me. Bringing me to FBI, and with the meeting with the police, with the black cops, and FBI employees and CIA employees. I had. Pentagon people, all kinds of, and black generals and so on, involved in this, and in torture. in torture. It was like this, that I really didn't know what the fuck to do with this. It was like this, that I had no fucking idea what to do with this thing. But in 54 years, it turned out to be just this way, that you had not even fucking grain of conscience talking about blacks here, and Asians, and Jews, and Latinos, and everything that is out there that is, and people from Greenland. I'm thinking if I miss anybody else, because they had me throughout the entire world. And I'm saying to myself, you didn't have a fucking grain of human conscience in this case, so much that within 54 years, not when you would be given order by these whites, but through your own initiative, you wouldn't. It's a good question, really. Who the fuck was I, and who the fuck am I? Take initiative and do whatever your duty as a human being was and is? None? Well, in that case, and that is the case, I previously gestured, the black community did not take care of their own people. They didn't stop them. Then I said to myself, you're fucking crazy. They promoted themselves, using this case, depicting me as insane, so they could grab more money and women and all kinds of stuff. It's like never-ending story. The more, the better. And the more is needed. It wasn't only blacks, it was Mark Zuckerberg, it was Elon Musk, it was all the garbage that was coming inside of his home. The same thing. The same shit. They did not get so much hands-on torture as blacks did. But they did have their sessions too. Well, this goes to explain that you can do extremely unexplainable to the human beings. Of course, I'm a human being. Don't get scared if you're watching this program. I'm still alive, but I am a human being. That's actually the definition of the sickness. That's a real definition of mental illness. You had absolutely no control over the stuff you were enforcing, doing stuff for which is you swear on race, on freedom to racial, ethnic, religious, and etc., etc., etc. And you had no way to control yourself. You had no way to control your own people. Racially, I say. And you had no way, as a white majority in the U.S., to control and ethnicities and also your own crime. Because blacks figure out that if the whites do it, they did. They tortured throughout entire Europe. Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and even in Germany, and even in Scandinavia. A lot throughout Britain. Even in Denmark. Actually, a lot in Denmark. Canada, Australia, America, enormously. Like I said, I don't want to talk about Eastern Europe. I don't want to talk about that stuff. For the reasons I also have specified. If the victim would have where to go, this thing would never take place. So you always search for the most vulnerable. And you condition and you aggravate their situations, such situations, so that you can literally rip apart their hearts. You eat their hearts out. And so I'm going to ask you again, who the fuck am I? And you said, you're not going to solve this. You're not going to investigate. You're not. But you did not investigate. You covered up. You are the one who enforced. The Federal Bureau enforced this crime. The Central Intelligence Agency enforced this crime. So how are you going to investigate this thing? It became evident to me that you're wasting. You are lying all the way. You are lying about the whole thing, everything. Clearly, something would have been terrible wrong with me if I would go and say, follow your steps, walk in your foot like this. I would be really animal. It just goes to demonstrate how far you have gone with this, and how on a size, on a scale, because there was no city on earth that they wouldn't have me. This whole thing was. How this stuff was done and the purposes of why this stuff was done. You, by God, you're not a democracy. Based on my case, you're not. You are fucking evil. Lucifer maybe, Satan maybe. Put it on your dollar bills. Remove that God, we trust you, and God we trust, and this, that. You don't trust no fucking God. You don't trust no fucking God. God is written like your constitution on that banknote, but the reality is what I stated in this video. Because the whites did it, and the Russians are also whites, and Serbs are also whites, right? We can do it too. And then you turn around and open the paper, or you go to the internet, and on the front page you read about how somebody, or let's say Donald Trump, how Donald Trump insulted, the minorities and this and that and so on. Donald Trump was in a total agreement with Barack Obama. It was designed, the whole thing was designed for Barack Obama to come like 10 times bigger than during his presidency. Donald Trump deliberately stupidified himself. It's all in agreement. They made an agreement with the South African ANC. That's the most black racist formation in South Africa, the one that is promoting kill the whitey stuff in songs, kind of a stuff. So yeah, I was gonna put this stuff on the internet. I felt aggravated when I saw this news on a Facebook reminding me of this FBI, this and that. And I look at it and I'm thinking about this stuff, and I realize I'm actually kind of losing it. And I'm losing it for all the wrong reasons. This isn't about blacks only. This is about the whole country. This is about the whole nation. You're not supposed to happen in multiracial country. That's what makes the country. What makes the country, if you don't have the laws in multiracial country, well, you don't have anything. And if you have the laws in multiracial country, and something like this, despite everything goes on, then you don't even have the country. It's not about the laws. Then you have nothing. Then you have total nothing. Then you have less than nothing. And we see this phenomena in South Africa. We see this phenomena throughout the United States of America. It's spreading like a disease, like a plague. It is unstoppable through the forced unemployment mechanism, psychiatry, just as it used to be in the Soviet Union. We settled now in an attitude whether it's going to be like this or you're going to see what's going to be. I had no idea about the United States of America as such. Seriously, if I had idea about these things, and like I said, they don't do this to the people that they have a place to go. They do it to the people they have no place to go. And they pay tremendously so that people would have no place to go. I would have seen this whole thing very, very, very differently. I definitely would. So you may want to say, good that you haven't seen it. Yeah, we did it. We did it good. Well, there will be other people, I hope, who will be judging about this. You couldn't do it with me. You couldn't have done it with any other human being on earth. And you are using me for espionage. You are using me for social engineering. You are using me for so many issues. Without a single incident, practically. For 50 years. Sympathized with you, literally. Supported you in those circles. And you just couldn't have done it with me. I was looking at this, folks, earlier today. Jobless people. Maybe not even necessarily jobless, but homeless people living inside of their cars throughout the USA. And you also see how they live inside of the tents and stuff. And I was saying to myself, these are people who long have forgotten who they are. I should say who they were. You're not supposed to be this way. And the sad part about it is, you're probably going to find this challenging. You're probably going to say, I mean, you're not supposed to say this. But every one of these poor bastards is still like in a spirit of God bless America. Without actually understanding their life was regulated through the forced unemployment, through unemployment issues. Well, I don't think there's a lot of lazy people in America. I think they get people, they screw them up, they whack them, they check, boom, bam, and that's it. And that's final product is a bomb that comes out, and you can then do with a person whatever you want to do with that person. Especially get him on an MK Ultra and stuff, he'll become a real rampage boy. Till he gets himself or herself in too many trouble, and then there is no help to one no more. If there is a help at all, there's a lot of people who died because of the drugs. They just drug themselves. It's just one of the most disgusting sights. I have seen people dying all over the place, drugged up during Joe Biden administration. People on streets without absolutely any hope. Donald Trump is not any better for having these people removed and euthanized practically. That doesn't mean that you are any better. These are the signs of a failing society, of the society in a total decay, fall. Failure, fuck up. And because it's happening in America, that doesn't mean it has to happen the same throughout the Europe. People keep talking about America, about the racism. They talk about you're racist, you're this, you're that. An entire country is opinionated on the same stereotyping, same shit as it was 100 years ago. It's the same shit, the same thing. One of the reasons why I didn't post this, but I was going to post the stuff, the angry stuff that I was going to post, is because I realized it's many of you that will just take this to an old, simple way. And, you know, what comes to my mind is the stereotyping. Or let's say black people. I never ever was part of it. That's a crazy part about all this. But I realized that going down the hall that when I was going to write this with the letters, it would give the opportunity to some people to, I'm not going to say promote a neo-Nazism, because neo-Nazism doesn't exist, in my opinion. There is people, outlandish people, that dress themselves like this. Or that other option, American option, that Ku Klux Klan option. That's like more traditional in America. Which is a road to nowhere. It's a road to nowhere. Why is it a road to nowhere? Because you can make claims about the blacks, that they stink, that they are ugly. Whatever claims you're going to make, those claims only are going to make you ugly. Who is making these claims? Whoever wants to make claims like this. Because we all know that that type of ideology, or maybe the two ideologies, didn't bring the country forward absolutely anywhere. Or the person that promoted type of stereotyping, it had proven for one to be a failure. It's really, now we're really in an FBI area. Obama would say division, segregation. Yeah, but division and segregation, these are not the same things. These are not the same things. The only thing that I would say in respect to division and segregation is that you're still in the country. You still remain in the country. And as such, you continue to remain a problem, a cancer of the Constitution, cancer of the image of the country, cancer for absolutely everything that derives, and everything derives from European civilization when it comes to the United States of America. That's why you're still in the country. And as long as you remain inside of the country, it's not you, it's myself. As a human being, I cannot see myself in the United States of America. You're still in the country. You're still in the country. And as a country, you make no fucking sense. You're closer to the mental illness than to a nation. You're patients. Without the ability to answer the challenges which you humans created. Except, of course, if a murder, collective murder, is okay. And so now if the collective murder unites United States of America as a nation, as a country, like I said, then it's the rest of the world that needs to pay close attention to it. It was all the time during MKH about the problems. You always create the problems. You always create the problems where there is no problems. You always create the problems where there is no problems. Well, by providing the opportunity to people who murdered me to submit their proofs, I would be probably closer to mental illness than you are. After all, most likely I would silently die, waiting for Americans to rescue, which is completely evident. There never was any intention to save absolutely anybody. This is pretty well explained. It's the subject that I cover greatly expose ethics of United States of America. What United States, not only for me. You might get me completely wrong in this video. There is a portion of the text that is missing because I deleted the original post before publishing it. It's about what not only individuals can expect from United States of America. It's what entire nations can expect. Not necessarily white. I am not against black people. I'm not against Asian people. I am not against Latinos. Don't get me wrong. If you remember when I told you, they would have never done it, they never do it to the person which has a place to go to. They always make sure that targeted person is without, anywhere to go to before they do this to one. Well, they don't do it to you. You might be actually a NATO ally. You might be American ally. You might be inside of the NATO membership. But that doesn't mean that party is going to last forever. This is the core of United States of America we are discussing in this video. And this is not the way to discuss genocide with somebody like myself. This is not how you do it. Unless, of course, you want this kind of results. And I know you got away with it. Who knows how many people you have done this to before. But some people last a little longer. Some people last a little less. It differs on the type, on the body, and so on. But with the will of God, I did manage to get the truth out about you as whole, as a nation, as a people. You act so, you like to act so, how can I say? You like to take things for granted in front of the strangers. Like everything is like, today is exactly where it was yesterday, and tomorrow, of course, it's a normal thing. Like everything is like for granted. You take things for granted. That's at least the impression that you got on me. And because you have really different personalities. You, the people, are really... I experienced this one thing on the surface and something completely different when I was subjected to MK Ultra. This is where more truth comes out about... Actually, this is where the truth comes out about really who you're dealing with. It is always try to make me feel that is the truth pertaining to me. Everywhere at work, wherever I was, I had the co-workers and everybody, like, we need to learn about who you are. And it gets really good, man, when you have people with a less education, all kinds of people trying to figure out who you are. Because nothing is worth, not even whatever you manage to scoop together to go on about life. Nothing is worth anything. This is the world I'm talking about. You could almost say you don't exist. But they were taking the notes. They were taking the notes. They were taking the notes and they continue to lie. Some people would refer to this as a lobby. But I refuse to see this as a lobbying. This was not a lobbying in my eyes. stuff that took place was just truly disgusting, without absolutely any conscience. And the outcome was exactly as I described in those articles I wrote, the report on what they did with me, what they did to me. They were using hundreds of dietitians. They have all kinds of dietitians that will be coming here. Your food, you don't eat, and this and that, the food you're supposed to, and this and that. So all kinds of dietitians, they were concerned about. They were concerned about things that were used literally to cover up the real stuff that went on. And that's how you smell. If you are subjected to bestiality, torture during MK Ultra, and you have some kind of dietitians, physicians running around you and talking to you that you don't eat properly and this and that. On the other hand, you have a human rights activists. Let's say Antonio Guterres from United Nations was just one of them. So Kofi Annan and etc. All of them since 1972 were involved from United Nations. You get so many pieces of advice. You know, when I was talking to you about these homeless people in America, how they live in the cars or they still go, hey, God bless America. You know, they have full pants of shit, diarrhea, and it's still, God bless America. I think it's a cowardice. I think that people just, rather than to confront the beast, they just settle for whatever it is out there. And this cowardice have consequences. The corruption is rampant. It almost feels like any branch of whatever you establish, it immediately becomes rotten, penetrated by those same organization was established against. It's like there's no way out. And the poverty does its part. The United States of America is nowhere where once used to economically the people, the ownership where people used to be. It's very different from where it used to be. Now, the worst part is the ethnic composition is completely different too, so that something as it used to be could come back. That does not exist. Those days are gone forever. It's only going to deteriorate. So these are some alarming sounds that who the hell am I kidding? I'm not going to go and get the second life, but when people are heard saying stuff like I was talking about in this video, then it's very evident, it's very clear what is about to happen to the victim, to the individual, and it becomes also very clear what this individual is being used for, what their plans are to do with him. It's just basically a murder is what it is. I wouldn't call FBI as unprofessional. I would just refer it to as a terrorist organization. run by the terrorists. That's my definition, personal, for the FBI, for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It was the issues that supposedly would pertain to getting Donald Trump arrested during the war in Iran, and all kinds of issues embedded in this. Likewise, basically, I'm using a case which they claim that he's going to be arrested and this and that. And then they added few more demands from me, which they demanded for me to fulfill, for them to investigate, and finally concluded that even so they could not arrest Donald Trump, and so on and so forth. This is the type of atmosphere I had with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Still, I wouldn't call this as unprofessionalism. I wouldn't even refer to this as a corruption. I think that these are just signs of failing, totally failing society that the world should pay very, very close attention to. Now, did Americans play extremely dirty in my case, paying Russians and Serbs for violence against me? Watch out there in Europe. You won't go through the same shit. And you're going to start to comply with some kind of sickness from United States of America. Mental illness, epidemia of mental illness, sickness, that will plug you and plunder you, just like it did United States of America, once the greatest country in the world. They play with things that are strange. They learn to do stuff to bring their allies closer to them, that deserve a very close attention, very close scrutiny. If I were concerned, definitely leagues of Europeans that should be established in the United States of America that would serve protection of the civil rights of Americans, of the white Americans. If I were concerned, I would go this way. It was hard for Americans when I started to inquire assistance through foreign embassies in the United States of America about possibility of immigrating from the US to their countries instead. And even trying to associate myself with established minorities in the US, white minorities. It was from the perception of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, CIA, as if it was Mars attacks or alien invasion on the United States of America. They were on fucking toes. They were up like eagles. And that basically also tells you that, you know, things aren't the way they're supposed to be. People are taking for granted what they shouldn't. But that really doesn't mean that you, from another country, through your sovereignty, should also see things as normal that are actually a strong indices, strong indications of the failing society. This shit already impacted Europe tremendously a lot. And from somebody whom you are using to prove that they are just as good and that they are just as whatever, adaptable and smart, and that I'm stupid, that I am incompetent and lazy and I don't know what, you're not going to get that less satisfaction. You didn't have. You're never going to get. You never had, and you never will get any okay from me. You can say, yeah, okay, but yeah, you have to go out there and you have to kill more people. Because this case proves it. That you murder people. Proves it that you're a terrorist organization at Federal Bureau of Investigation and at Central Intelligence Agency. And as such, the world must pay attention to you as an organization, as a country. That questions must be asked. That your constitution must be questioned. That employees must choose between the Constitution and the color of the skin. Given that I provided you with information that when I was brought to the FBI, they didn't see themselves in laws. They saw themselves in the color of the skin. Inconvenience. It was more important to get along with the co-workers. That's all I wanted to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, the Nazism and KKK is not the answer. That is sick. You're going to start seeing yourself in, I don't know how they call the black people. I'm not good at this. Spics. There is stuff that they stink and blah, 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 blah. If you're going to start seeing yourself in that stuff, you're going to cause yourself damage. Nobody has to do anything to you. It's a mental illness. Pathos. You will suffer. If you're going to take educated approach toward this and start demanding answers on the questions, and go even beyond the segregation, then you might actually liberate yourself. For me, there is absolutely no life, no way, seeing myself in a multiracial society ever again. That is the final answer to those of you who, and I'm talking about here whites, so primitively demanded from me 30. Can you imagine you waste somebody 54 years of life? You basically kill him already, and you demand from him to see himself in something he actually had no right to. He doesn't. The biggest right, the biggest alienation of the rights is the right to ethnicity, actually to the race. Ethnicity, not religion, and etc., etc. You failed in this case. You failed miserably in this case. So I condemn you, FBI, as a terrorist organization. Rather than aligning myself with you through your insane, I'm going to say, requests. That's bullshit. That's not law enforcement. That's a bullshit. And in your case, it's too late. Maybe just like in mine, but in your case, it's definitely too late. I will not change my mind in this life. I thought about this thoroughly. You caused so much damage that money cannot pay for the damage that you caused. You murdered me. You killed me. In a very, very special way. and making criminals feel good about themselves and spread your sickness, basically compliance through the most bestial murder onto European continent, onto other cultures. That are just as in the case of the Russia waiting for a slaughterhouse to come to them. That's why I reject you. It's an educated response. It's not a response that would be just done in something blah, blah, blah. I studied you. I know what you're up to. I know exactly what you are doing. And you're not going to get anything here. This was disgusting. The more proofs, so they signaled, they took back to United States of America, to Britain and whatever place, the more torture they become involved in. And I was to pay for it all. In a form of torture, in a form of compliance, and finally, obviously, in a form of death without informing anybody about what went on. You're watching this on Ulster Times. You are at Ulster Times right now. My name is Bastian Ulster. And you know the rest about me. You can say to me, thank you for making a nice video for us. I will not say to you anymore, thanks for watching this video. I'm doing this stuff too good. You can learn from it. Oh, good for you. Total segregation within the society, multiracial society, is a step forward. No, it's not. Total separation it is. You cannot have so many ethnicities, so many races in one fucking society, under one nation, and zero laws. You understand that? What you did in this case, you demonstrated total incompetence. You demonstrated mental illness as anything mentally ill can be. Total incompetence you demonstrated. You cannot have, you understand? Repeat after me. You cannot have so many nations and you cannot have so many ethnicities within one nation without laws. And that's exactly what you demonstrated. That is the message to you at Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's why you are a terrorist organization. Terrorist American U.S. government, United States of America organization. Terrorists. Does not work like this. The more ethnicities, especially when considering that you have anti-Semitism, that you have laws providing for the blacks, you have the laws providing for minorities. You have a zoo. And I'm not going to say that you have no control over that zoo, because you do. You do. Clearly, you only do stuff like this to foreign people. I moved to the United States of America. I naturalized myself in 2000. Became American citizen. When they had no place to go to. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run. I filed for political asylum in a dozen different countries. Beginning with Canada. After I changed 3 American states from Florida. Then landed in Austria. Apply for asylum in Germany. Apply for asylum in Belgium. Apply for asylum in Sweden. Didn't because of the torture that went on and discouragement. That's 5. Apply for asylum in Norway. That's 6. Apply for asylum in Hungary. That's 7. Apply for asylum because you can only apply for asylum as a European Union citizen in a non-European Union state. Likewise, as in Norway, I applied in Ukraine. That's 8. Finally, and I applied in Ukraine because they wouldn't allow me to board plane in Hungary for Moscow. That's how I ended up going through the Poland and tried to get through the border to Belarus on foot. And it didn't work. I had to go back with a train and all the way to Ukraine. After they rejected me, basically the flight to Moscow from Hungary, as I said. Belarus, I don't know what you say, 8 or 9 is now. Apply for political asylum in Slovakia, that's 10. Apply for political asylum in... This is fucking insane. But this is what you have done. In Poland. And then even in Czech Republic, and I don't know how many it is. Is it dozen? Or it's more? If I add those 3 other American states where I also tried to escape from Florida, this is a whole lot. This is more than dozen. 15 plus. This is real. This shit is real. Escape in psychiatry and so on. You cannot have. The world should not accept this shit. So many different ethnicities, so many different races in one country, in one system, and 0 laws to pertain to citizens. There is a good reason why to revolt against this. There is a good reason why to take up the arms. Stand up to this. It's a tyranny. You cannot do this to people. And the world must reject you. The world must trial you in the United States of America. You cannot do this. You cannot treat people like this. You cannot murder people like this. Not treat, but murder people like this. That's why. You terrorists and you terrorist organization. Segregation, no. A total separation, yes. I personally am not interested in life in a country so beautiful as this United States of America, with so many beautiful different ethnicities and races, where, however, there are no laws other than those on the paper and those that find their way to the FBI investigators as per their mental illness agenda. You get it? Beautiful country, outstanding country, with such an interesting diversity, variety of people, yet a whole thing a total madness. Mental illness, nothing more than that. That's why. There was some questions they had from FBI. They even had some funny concerns. You are a fucking utopia of madness. You're not even dictatorship. You're a fucking utopia of madness. And the more things progress, the more there will be need for freedom, for life, basically. You figure out very good everything, but I think I figured out just as good as you did. You figure out up to everything up to the last millimeter. I figured it out even better. Nobody did what I did. I put it on the paper, I put it in the videos. It's a future reference for people that find themselves in need. And basically a nail in your coffin. Stuff you did to me, it's going to be more difficult to do to other people. So witnessing is a testimony. It's proven. It's not credible. It's proven. And it's an alarm for the rest of the world. Not only for the Europe, but also for the countries that are allies of the United States of America. Should know what to expect based on this case alone. You have seen it, you have participated in it. It really didn't have to turn this way. But you're fucking nasty. You're just simply nasty. You do it not because you would have to, but you do it simply out of pure evil. Out of pure evil you do it. You do it because you can do it, and you do it because you get away with it, because there's nobody that can stop it. The stuff you like to brag about in your American society, you don't really give a fuck about. You don't care. You talk one thing, you do something completely different. I don't even know how many they killed again yesterday. The stuff that went on yesterday was atrocious. Even more atrocious. It exposed that Jews became specialized. Jews and their American collaborators became specialized in killing children. That it's, so it appears, killing of the children that became of their biggest interest. They target children deliberately. Everybody reports about the children, that they became specialized in killing children. Americans became specialized in killing children. Children and women they love to kill. They love killing children, Americans. These same Jews that do this, these Americans from the United States of America, I don't know how many are there in Israel. They traveled from America as an Americans And they're not being prosecuted by American justice system. Oh no, sir. Have a war criminals. This is maybe even bigger reason why I don't want United States of America anymore. They're celebrated back home in America as heroes. This here. And these are the people that were the kind of people that would share this stand against me. If he is, then I am not, and this and that. If he is, then I am not. If he is, then I am not. Every fucking day, man. Every day. You could possibly not believe what's going on, man. All paid by American taxpayers' dollars. Paid by Americans, by American citizens. They pay for this. It's incredible, man. It is incredible. It is incredible, and the world must start taking note of this stuff because it's becoming too late for the world. A mass slaughter right out in the open, all paid in for by American tax dollars. Anti-Semitism. What the fuck is anti-Semitism? Can somebody explain to me what the fuck is this? Who wants to live in a country like this? Who wants to live in a country like this? You're going to investigate. What the fuck are you going to investigate? The answer is nothing. Very clear, very evident to me. But the world must hear this from me before I'm gone. It's one of the most frequent lies that was involved in MK Ultra, the manipulation, the brainwash that they are using is they're telling people, they told me, Robert Golob here, Slovenian, or Milan Kučan, told me, you're not a German, but here is one. And I was like, in the kitchen, together with Barack Obama, and I said, what German, where German? This is the one that's gonna save you. Yes, Barack Obama is half white and he's half black. His mommy is white. It was the same thing with Andrew Tate, with the Tate brothers, with Tristan and Tate, and it was the same shit with many, many others. Somehow this just happened to be the most violent people. Mom from Tate brothers is also from Britain, is white, and daddy is black from the USA. It's not a surprise, but having a child with a black individual or with a Jew somehow always ends in the children, in your children, taking either a black or a Jew side, even against you. One day they might actually whack you. This is just the way it is. If it's a mixed couple and mother is white and father is black, it will just always, the kids, they will always go against white. It's like they're fucking programmed genetically, and they are. Through the history, through the everything, they actually are. That's why I said separation is the only answer, not segregation. Segregation is a mental illness. There is always a way around segregation, but there is no way around separation, especially if you put in a constitution what population, who, and etc., etc. Big difference. No, the Barack German didn't save me. And they're not out there to save anybody. They plug this world, it's a disease that I am not going to even go into it, because maybe George Bush is going to resent me for this. He was one of those kind of brainwashers that would just see whatever the blacks were laughing at, and I was paying with my own health. It doesn't work. It didn't work. It doesn't work, and by God, it will not work. I am here to create the problems. God damn it right. Where there are no problems in a fucking system like this, they must be created. That's what we humans exist for. To not agree, to not consent to genocide. Your logic, your American logic is really, really... When I was in the US, the most often phrase they were using is think out of the box. The whole world, man, can be laughing at what Americans are using the most, think out of the box. This video is think out of the box because it's what is unaffordable otherwise. I am not the person that you probably expected you would encounter under this video. I am the white person who will say to you, I don't want, because I don't want to be discriminated anymore. And this isn't about discriminated. This is worse than discriminated. I don't want to be part of that society. I don't want blacks around me because I don't want to be genocided anymore. Now you can do your Michael Jackson. Now go and you do your smart moves. And do moves and continue to convince the world that everything is normal the way it's supposed to be, etc., etc. Pretend to see nothing, that everything is normal, there are no problems. Country with the biggest racial disparity, diversity, ethnicities from all around the world, but without any fucking laws, without without the basic laws that would protect, I'm not going to say your human dignity, but your own life. They wouldn't even protect your fucking life, man. It's not even about the race, religion. Forget about religion. It's not even about the race and religion, let's say. Ethnicity and race. We're talking about. They won't even protect your fucking life, man. That is the United States of America. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. Because I'm not in it. I'm not in it to... If I would be in it, this is what I see when I watch these videos. When I watch these videos, they're all the same shit. It's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. People like kind of responding to one another. People are like ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, ping. And they're responding to everything that's inside of the box. And then you can never get to solution when everything is inside of the box. Because what you do is you correspond to the box, basically. You can't get out of the box if you are corresponding with the box. You finish before you began. This is just based out of my own case, based on my own case, based on what I experienced, based on what was done to me, and I would hate to see another child pay like this, another baby to be like this, another child to be like this, so that some Johnny Cash pervert can sing about the Wanderer, let's say, and he have few more songs like this, demanded from me to see myself in him, and etc., etc. I don't fucking see myself in no loser. You don't have to be a singer gigolo, a likey boy that you are, that you exist. You don't have to collect likes and whatever, approval from the people. This approval from the people. Understand this video and you will understand what it means. The approval means here shit. I do it for myself. You failed as a country, as a nation, and when it comes to FBI, this is like the most failed, I feel like the most failed organization of them all. I don't know. I don't understand how can you fail so much? But it's just like I said, you are in it to murder, to kill. And with so many laws, with everything that you have, you advertise daily to the people, whether they go at work or they go at in the media, anti-discrimination, anti-this discrimination. You started to advertise to the people, it's an N-word. It's an N-word, and it's whatever word. It's You started to find the expressions for completely unexcusable. And you demand this through the broad audience without any kind of exemptions to your rule. We're like 1,000 years backwards, man, with your logic, with the way you're doing things. It doesn't work here on this channel. It doesn't work here. And I hope the world is going to adapt this stuff that I said. I hope they're going to put this in a practice and question you, your suitability to serve their countries. It's about the partnership, but I say fuck the partnership that is based on complete mental illness, lawlessness, not even carelessness, but deliberate harm. That's not partnership for me. The whole system is a system built out of cards. Proven in this video. Does not work. You're going to say it works when we respect one another and so on. In this case, it's too late. In this case, it's too late. This is one case you didn't get right. Or you did. Because this is what you got at the end. Anyways. Having children with let's say, Latinos or with the Asians is very different. It's very different. It's very, very different. Having children with Latinos or with the Asians is extremely different from having children with the blacks or with the Jews. Very different. Very, very, very different. Whether you have with the Asian or you have it with the Latino, the kids might actually see themselves more in white than in Latinos. When it comes to the blacks and to the Jews, you'll be fucking lucky you don't get killed by your own kid. It's bad. It's very bad. Violence and that natural instinct, basically, that is taking you, that builds in you some kind of resentment and anger and need for retaliation, grudge against society, etc., etc., is very, 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 very different. These are two instances that are extremely, extremely, extremely different. And they are also connected with one another more than any other instance in the United States of America. It's a cancer of the United States of America. I was going to say, if the father is white and the spouse, let's say, is black or is Jewish, it could be the opposite way, right? Because it's more manly figure now, and the manly figure is white. This time it's not black. We reverse the roles from black husband and white wife, or Jewish husband and white wife. Not even like this works. It always go in the same direction. It always goes downhill, basically. You'll always go downhill, and no matter what the fuck you do, it's gonna end up in all kinds of issues that, you know, best in life is just to build life, not problems. And I don't know why, but every fucking time, none more instance than if the wife is white, Barack Obama is a total extremist, and the husband is black. That's like a recipe for total fuck up, for a total failure. Then you have created a child. Literally, you created Black Panther child, basically Black KKK or wherever they refer themselves as, with fucking zero responsibility, with a fucking zero, with nothing in this world other than to cause harm and evil. Literally.